Hey guys, just finished watching The Gifted, Season 2, Episode 4, Outmatched. What an episode this one. This one was really cool. So it's really interesting episode. Not too much happens, but there's big things that happen type thing. So it was really cool dealing with what happened. I felt like the episode went by real fast, and I really don't have too many kind of points here to talk about, but it's just kind of big things that do happen so early on in Episode 4. I think we only have 10 episodes, so we're just about, I guess, halfway through this show. This season, I think. Let's take a look here on IMDb. IMDb has it listed as 13 episodes. Okay, so just a little bit less than halfway through next week. Well, not next week, since we have a break. We have a week off, so I guess we have 2 weeks until the next episode. But which is going to be pretty cool. But we have this episode. We see that Andy, but we go to get a flashback to 16 years ago when Kate was pregnant with Andy. She was five months pregnant with him, and she was told by her doctor that they were told that she continues with this pregnancy. She has a high risk of either dying herself or the baby dying, or both dying together. And there's a super small chance of her actually having the child and everything going okay. But it's more likely that she would die and the baby would die, or just she would die, or just the baby would die, either way. So I think it was a really interesting idea to see if that was kind of connected to, if we find that later on, if that was anything to do with how Reed is developing with his powers. Could that have affected something? Could it be something on her side, the two connecting and stuff, since we've started to go down his backstory, and we've seen that he's slowly developing some powers and stuff, but maybe there could be something also on her side, but something completely different. But that would be something to go down, I think, probably for another season. So we'll have to wait and see, but I think it was really cool seeing that, and it brings that more connection towards her, like she was saying, how she was fighting for him then, so she wants to fight for him now, type of thing. So I think it's really going to be cool to see that relationship, and to see, for what he does in this episode when he attacks Lorna later. What would he do when he's confronted with his parents? If the same situation with his parents, how would that go? How would that situation go with his mother, type thing? I think it would be quite an interesting idea. I feel like they're kind of building up to maybe, his mother getting confronting him at one point, and having Kate kind of she be the one that kind of breaks him, type thing. I think that could be interesting to see that, and maybe slowly see some sort of reveal. It'd be interesting to see some sort of reveal whether or not the Frost sisters are playing in their heads. I think there's going to be a little bit of that, but I'd like to see whenever they do come back to the leave the inner circle and they go and come back to the Mutant Underground with all their friends and stuff. I'd like to see that Andy and Polaris are both kind of, there was some of the extreme stuff where they were pushed to by the Frost sisters and stuff, but at the same time I'd like to see them be mostly their own, and that would be part of the blood, and that would be forever changed going into season 3 type thing. I think that could be really cool dealing with that, and they kind of like what they did over on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with Fitz and the Doctor, how when he came back from being the terrible evil doctor in the Hydra Doctor, he came back, it was revealed that was kind of inside of him. It's still a part of him. It just removed a little bit of it. Ada just removed a little bit of him, and that kind of was deep inside of it, still part of him, type thing. And he still had that left over, type thing. So I think that would be something to do with this, is to, whenever Andy and Lauren and Andy and Polaris, whenever they come back to the Mutant Underground and stuff, to the team. And they leave the inner circle and they see what the bad things the inner circle is actually doing. I think that would be the time have them come back, but still, only the big things. Maybe if that one later on, the push to actually attack Lorna was maybe done by the Frost sisters, but the other things are still all them, and I think that would be something. There'd still be some relationships need to be mixed. Need to be fixed and stuff, and they need to get over some of the things that they're going to end up doing, even though. We find out that, they only had a very little push from the Frost sisters, which was not much at all, type thing, to really kind of mess with their head. They weren't completely, taking over their bodies. Because if they come back and it's like, oh, they were controlled the whole time, everything's all good, end of story, and then it's like, this season, what was the point of it all? But if they come back kind of changed from it, then, change from it to where, it wasn't all the Frost sisters, it was really them. I think that's really, really, things are going to be cool, and to see where things go there. Just to see how little, the Frost sisters had to play with them, with their minds, type thing. to push him to do all these things. I think that's really going to be cool to see that kind of guilt coming out of this episode, coming out of this season for Lorna, Polaris, and Andy whenever they do eventually come back to the Mutant Underground and stuff. So we see that Kate, they end up going after, and they go find the Graft, which is the brother of Wired, which is weird that, I don't know why they just didn't leave the Wired alive, why they have a different character but yet exact same powers. I find it a coincidence, even though they're not twins, so it's like they had the same exact powers. What are the odds of that? Is that not, seems like really high, like the odds are really kind of not in their favor for that, but oh well, I guess he has the same powers and stuff. It was really cool seeing Kate. She kind of drug him, and she kind of take him off the drugs by trying to remove the drugs from his system. Then giving him more drugs, and then he had a heart attack, bringing him back to life, and all that stuff. That was really cool, just seeing him dealing with that and watching kind of Graf kind of hacking through stuff. I think it makes the hacking in this show a lot more interesting than any other show where they actually have someone typing on a computer trying to, I'm hacking, there you go, I got it, and when he could just touch the computer and he could feel it, right? Then that's way more interesting than anything else. One of the best hacking scenes I've seen in a while. It's up there with one of the shows I watched on Netflix. I think, what was it? The Limitless TV show, where literally they just put the words hacking, and hacking jargon is when what they would speak to each other. They're realizing that hacking is not, they're pretty much telling the audience hacking is not something you can make into a montageable moment. It doesn't really look good type thing as an on-screen type thing. It's so boring. Whereas here, when he's a mutant, it's pretty cool, and I think it's really fun to seeing that. And even that is still just kind of blank coding and stuff. So it's really, really cool seeing that. It's really cool seeing that storyline. We get to see that Thunderbird and Blink are in the hospital, the mental institution that they're walking around, and Thunderbird's talking to them about how Lorna Polaris was in a hospital like this as a teenager, and she was almost going to be there for life until she got a call. There was a call made by her birth father to get her out of the hospital. So obviously we know that that's Magneto, and I think that's really going to be cool to see where things kind of go with that. And I think if Marvel, since they bought Fox and everything, if they have no plans to bring in Magneto into the MCU too soon, because they're going to add it to their lineup, but they're not going to make a spot for him. They already have some movies planned up all the way to like 2022 or something like that, especially with the new, as they're trying to get Guardians 3, trying to find directors for that and all that stuff. And they also have the Eternals just starting, so I think it'll be added to they'll add it to the lineup, but it'll add it to whatever the list. They're not going to make a slot for it and push things aside for an X-Men movie, but they might have him in there. So I think if they don't have any plans to using Magneto right away in those movies, or not until like 2024 or whatever, or 2023, 2022 for having a movie coming out, I feel like maybe this season, the end of this season, probably not, but maybe next season they could even have a Magneto on this show, and there'd still be enough time in between movies before they have a different version there. So I think that could be cool to see if we end up getting him. I think it could be quite fun. I don't see we get Michael Fassbender or even Ian McKellen on here. I think Ian McKellen would be the more likelier actor out of the two. Michael Fassbender's all over the place with the movies and stuff, but Hunter's a little bit more busy and stuff. And even Ian McKellen, he's pretty busy too with movies, and sure, and I'm not mistaken, he probably just plays a lot and stuff. So unlikely, but we could only dream, right? So that was really cool seeing that, getting that reference there to Magneto. And then we see that So we see that Polaris, Andy and Polaris end up taking some mutants from the hospital. They only take one, and they don't really reveal to who it is, but it looks like it was some sort of young child type thing, maybe a young girl or something. So it's gonna be cool to see where things go with that. I'm not sure entirely who it is. Maybe while I'm editing the video, I'll try and look it up to see who it could be, who is rumored to be added to it. So we can wait and see as to who that is. Hopefully it's not out there. You know what, I might just wait and just not Google it just to see what it is. I think that reveal is going to be quite cool. Hopefully it could be someone from the comic books, an actual known character, rather than a created character just for this show and stuff. But it would be really fun to see, someone pretty interesting. I mean, thinking of Jean Grey or something like that. But I think Jean Grey would be a bit too big for for the show, too popular with X-Men. But we'll have to wait and see as to where things could go with that. And since the X-Men have been referenced already, assumedly Jean Grey is a part of that X-Men, and she's already older than most of these characters type thing. She's already an adult, more likely in Reed and Kate's age type thing. So we'll have to wait and see as to what age those guys are, the X-Men. If we get some more teases as to where they are, I think that could be quite cool. Maybe they just disappeared. I think that's the last thing we got from them last season. Maybe they're doing like the Secret Wars type thing, which is literally in the comic books during Secret Wars, all the superheroes just kind of literally disappeared at the end of their book. So you don't have to read the Amazing Spider-Man going into Secret Wars or X-Men going into Secret Wars, because at the end of the issue they literally just disappear and appear there, and you can just pick it up in Secret Wars type thing. So I think they could be doing something like that, and then we just we never hear from them, right? They just disappear doing that. And then if they come back later on, then we could see them, and they could be quite interesting with that. Maybe getting some D-list actual X-Men members, and then have some characters that we meet later on that are X-Men characters. So getting an idea of some X-Men characters, or some of them the more rogue-like runs, and maybe not actually rogue, although it would be cool to see Reed, because if I'm not mistaken, Stephen Moyer is married to I can't think of her name, Anna Paquin, who played Rogue in the movies, and the first episode was done by Bryan Singer. So it would be pretty cool to see her to come back and have a cameo in this. I doubt that they would be able to do that. We'll have to wait and see. I feel like it would only be like one episode if we ever get something like that, but we can only hope, right? So we'll have to wait and see as to where things go, and to see who that mutant is. Could be quite interesting. But it looks like we get a bit of a reveal in the next episode. I think they straight up show who the mutant is. It's just we don't know who like what her powers are, what it is. Looks some sort of. It's obviously going to be destructive. Obviously going to be super powerful if she's such a key to Reva's plan. But we'll have to wait and see as to where things go with that. And then Andy ends up confronting Lauren, and he kind of knocks Lauren and Eclipse down, and that's when Lauren gets knocked out, and that's where we end the episode like that. So I think that's really going to be cool to see where things go there. We also had Jace Turner's storyline throughout this, but I didn't mark it down in my notes just because I'm not interested in it. I'm kind of bored with it. It's just not going anywhere. It seems like it's starting to go somewhere just at the end of the episode, after he talks to the the officer Wilson, and it looks like he wants them to join the Purifiers, and I think it looks like he's going to be joining the Purifiers, and maybe he'll become one of those. I think that could be quite interesting, especially since his wife doesn't want anything to do with him. I just don't see him joining them. It'd be cool to see how things going to go with that, but it'd be quite cool to see where things kind of go. And I feel like he doesn't seem like the type of guy that it would join the Purifiers 100%. It seems more like the type of guy who would, maybe he joins them, tries to do some stuff with them, try to use them, because that's his only way he can get anything. He can do anything to even get anything done with fighting the mutants and stuff. But yet, I could see their methods being way too strict, even for him, since all they want to do is kill the mutants, maybe even make them torture them. And I think that could be an interesting idea, to seeing that. Maybe he sees, having a scene later on where Jace is with the Purifiers, and he sees a little girl looks just like his daughter, very similar to his daughter, and she's a mutant, but yet he's forced to kind of kill her or torture her, and he just can't do it because it looks like his daughter. And I think that could be where he has his epiphany, and that's where he kind of, it could break him, and that's where he kind of, it'll break him, because he can't hurt this little helpless little girl just because she's a mutant and she happens to have, just weird eyes type thing, but yet otherwise she looks just like, his daughter. I think that could be a really cool thing to play with, and then to see how that would go, and then to see him kind of, being a man inside of the Purifiers for, start relaying information, because they find out the Purifier is going to do something bad, going to do something big to a mutant place with all kinds of innocent mutants, and he can't let that happen, so he has to go and team up with the Mutant Underground, or he has to go and team up with the team up with the inner circle type thing, and to see kind of something like that could be quite cool, to see him kind of having to team up with mutants to stop the after he realizes how terrible the purifiers are, as to where things are going to go with that. So I think it's going to be quite cool to see how his kind of storyline goes with the purifiers, but hopefully that purifier storyline can also connect into some of the main stories. Maybe this is what the inner circle has known about all along, that the purifiers are the bigger threat type thing. But it'll be quite cool to see as to where kind of things go with all this, and how his story kind of full circles and connects into the inner circle story. And I think that could be where one of the ways where he's with the purifiers and he sees something really bad about to happen and he can't let it happen, so he teams up with either the groups to one of the mutant groups to stop the purifiers and save all the innocent mutants, after he meets one that looks just like his daughter type thing. It could be an interesting idea, or even just a young one that's about the same age as his daughter. I think that could really mess with his head type thing. That'd be quite cool to see where he goes from there. So all in all, I can't wait to see how things kind of turn out for this, and how things kind of come all first full circle. So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below. What was your favorite part? It's kind of cool that we spend both sides, going from the mutant the inner circle and the mutant underground, going on both back and forth. But this time we stuck solely with the mutant underground. We didn't even see Reva Page at all in this episode. Lorna had no lines, or very little lines. Even Andy had some lines, but not too much lines at all type thing. Not that many throughout this episode, and Lorna had almost none. The Frost sisters, I don't think, had any lines. They were just kind of there, and they're even here on IMDb credit only, even though they were in the episode. Reva Page was credit only, and she was not even in the episode. So it'd be cool to see as to where things kind of go for that in the next episode. So all in all, looks kind of fun to see how things continue on from here. So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes subscribing is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.